I had someone ask me where I make these videos, and don't worry, I'm not homeless in the middle of the Russian woods somewhere. I'm actually just in my backyard in Michigan, right through here. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, YouTube. Just in case you've been blind your whole life, you currently notice that it is the autumn now. And it seemed to happen in just the last 3 days. Like, I feel like last time I made a video, everything was green, and now all of a sudden there's color everywhere. And I feel like in the next 3 days, it's probably all gonna just turn brown and all the leaves will be gone. But, it happens fast. When I'm making these videos, I don't want to force them along. Like, if the ideas don't come naturally to me, I don't want to force a video out there every few days. I wasn't gonna make a video today, but then as I was reading Hebrews, a verse stuck out to me, and actually just 3 words of a verse. It is in Hebrews chapter 12, at the very end of the verse, 3 words that stuck out, which I highlighted, says, run with patience. And I like the way the entire verse is actually said in the Amplified version, which I have on my phone here. It says, therefore then, since we are surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses who have borne testimony to the truth, let us strip off and throw aside every encumbrance, unnecessary weight, and that sin which so readily, deftly, and cleverly clings to and entangles us. And let us run with patient endurance and steady and active persistence the appointed course of the race that is set before us. The Amplified Bible it's difficult to read the whole Bible through in the Amplified version. Normally I'll read from the King James, and then when a verse sticks out, then I'll check the Amplified version on my phone to see a bit more of an expanded version. I'd like to learn, Hebrew and Greek to actually read it in the original language, but until then, I find the Amplified Bible does a pretty good job at it. Run with patience. It didn't say sit with patience. When God tells us to wait, He's not telling us to not do anything. He's saying wait on Him, but we still have to run the race. We still have to do what He's appointed us to do. For instance, if you're going through college, you have to wait on the Lord to get your job, but you're not going to wait on the Lord by not finishing college. If you're 2 years in and you need a 4 or 6 year degree, you're not going to just say, oh, let me wait on the Lord for my job and let me stop. Waiting on the Lord a lot of times may not look any different from not waiting on Him. Someone who's, impatient and isn't waiting on God to do something, and someone who is waiting on the Lord, to the outside, both of them might look identical, because both of them are still working every day, both of them might be going to school, but inwardly, there's a peace. Inwardly, there's a difference. Inwardly, there's a submission to God's will in their life, where you're not stressed about what might come of tomorrow because you're waiting on God. You're waiting for Him to bring the circumstances about instead of depending on all of your actions to bring about the circumstances. And as it said in the first verse, which said, let us strip off and throw away every unnecessary weight, every encumbrance and unnecessary weight, and that sin which so readily clings and entangles us. It's saying when you're running with patience, you not only have to do the good, you have to get rid of the bad. You have to get rid of the stuff that is weighing you down, the unnecessary weights, whether those are addictions, whether those are, again, they could be friendships, they could be anything that is drawing you away from God. We could say, oh, I don't know what that is, but I think inwardly, I think all of us do know what those things are in our life, whether it's video games, whether it's movies, whether it's, again, friend group, whether it's, hobbies we have. There might be, not that all those things are bad, but if you're doing them in excess, or if you're doing them and they're actually distracting you from the life God's leading you towards, that's what would end up becoming a unnecessary weight. That's something that would, again, it's not that those things are evil. It's not that doing any of those things will send you straight to hell. Like, someone can watch TV for 2 hours a day, and they're not going to go to hell for it. It's not that God would keep His blessings from that person. God's blessings don't depend on your actions. They don't depend on your good works. They depend purely on His grace and mercy in our lives. Yet, if we're not following God, our lives are simply not going to turn out as good as they could. Like, I'm trying to think of how to say this. There's a natural order God has put about in the world. It's like, if you eat a lot of food, you're going to gain weight. If you don't eat a lot of food, you're going to lose weight. It doesn't matter how much faith you have in God to make you gain or lose weight. There's a natural order to the world. Like God made science. He made the earth to work in a certain way. He made people to act in a certain way. So you have faith in God, but you still have to behave in accordance to the laws of reality that God has created in the first place. I feel that was a bit of a rant, and I don't really know what point I'm getting to here. A little bit of that verse stuck out to me all of a sudden, and I figured I should make a video on it, just to remind you that a lot of times when you're being patient on God, your life can still be going along as normal. It's not that everything has to come to a complete halt to be waiting on God. I think it's more of an inward change of your willingness to submit to the Lord and to wait on Him to bring stuff about, instead of constantly striving or maybe constantly thinking of something more that I can do to bring this about. It's almost like if you're going back to the college analogy of you're going to college to get your degree for, I don't know, whatever you're going for. While you're doing that, you're really busy and you've got that going, your life's really busy. Then you think, oh, but I could have a better chance if I add this onto my life too. Or if I do this as well. Oh, if I try to do a temporary, do temporary help at this agency, I'll be able to get in the field a bit more. Oh, if I add this on. And you're getting yourself stressed out because you're trying to add way too much onto your life. Because you're thinking, oh, unless I do this, I'm not going to get anywhere. There will be times in your life when you don't have a lot of free time, when you don't have any, leisure time. I don't feel like following God's will for your life should stress you out. Like, it may make you nervous, it may make you a bit fearful of what, because, again, when you're not following the ways of the world, you're looked at by others. If nothing else, you're going to be looked at by others as a fool. And that can be stressful. I guess that can be fearful, but it shouldn't be stressing you out to the point where you can't function. If that's happening, you don't have the peace of God on your side. And again, God says He'll give His peace unto us. I don't really know what point I'm trying to make here. I guess just don't, I'm not sure exactly what I'm trying to say. I guess more of just don't worry that you're doing too little or too much while you're trying to wait on God. Just wherever you are, be all there. Whatever you're currently doing, do it to the best of your ability. But I don't think you need to stress yourself out and add more onto your life to follow the will of God. Sometimes we'll have to cut things out of our life, but being patient with God doesn't mean to be completely passive. You can still do things and still have patience. Don't worry that you're taking your life into your own hands when you're doing stuff. Don't worry that, because I'm the one who chose to do this, now I'm not following the will of God because I'm not being patient with Him anymore. I called the business to ask if I could have a job. Well, if you want a job, you're going to have to call to get the job. It's just the way the world's set up. God's not going to have this place dial a wrong phone number and get your cell phone and ask, to hire you. And now, again, that could happen. You never know, but, because again, God, He'll work in ways we can never imagine. But I'm saying my same point over and over again here. I guess it comes down to just stop stressing out over things. That's what it all comes down to. Just, God doesn't want us to stress out. I don't see why He would have made us to stress out. If you're stressing out over something, I don't see how that's right. I don't see how God doesn't want to torment us. Even in our pain, God will give us His peace if we're trying to follow Him. We'll have His peace in what we're doing, even if the whole world is falling apart around us. If we're actively in God's will, we'll have peace about it. So just stop worrying. And that's the end of the video. So you heard me ramble again. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to edit this to get to a point that's concise in the video, or if I'm just going to instantly end the video. I think I put the camera a little lower than normal, but no, actually I just grew a couple inches. I got taller overnight, so the camera didn't shrink at all. The camera's that same height as it's always been. I just got taller. Hi, squirrel. This is 7 minutes and I have 30 seconds of video so far. I've been recording for 7 minutes and 24, 25, 26 seconds, and I only got 30 seconds of video. What am I trying to say?